and welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie and this is the May wrap-up and stats. As I have done for quite a few months now, this is the May 2019 wrap-up and stats, which I'm going to give you guys everything that I read this month and all its broken down categories and everything like that. And then at the end of this video, you guys can check out all of the books with their book covers at the end in a slideshow, so you can jump around and find those reviews if you want a more in-depth thought process for each of those. Make sure you check the description box for the timestamps so you can jump around to the different sections that you may be interested in, and let's get to it. So here are the monthly reads. I read 28 books in May, even though my life went in all kinds of different shambles and things like that. That's still a pretty big number. 28 is still a pretty big number, and that breaks down to 15 audiobooks, 13 ebooks, and 13 arcs. I had 6 scheduled arcs for this month, but I had some that were on the back burner that I got completed as well. The page count and hours breakdown is 128 hours and 3 minutes of audiobooks and 8,016 pages of actual books read. So those 28. For the star ratings, so we're going to go and break that down for you now. And that is 1 DNF'd book, 0 1-star books, 0 2-star books, 1 3-star book, 14 4-star books, and 12 5-star books. For Blackout 2019, which is to read Black authors, I read Grading Curves by Nima Simone and A Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole. For Romance Genreathon, this month's topic was young adult and new adult books. I read 12 books for this category, and those 12 books are Her Perfect by Stephs Walls, which is a young adult, Promise You by Fabiola Francisco, which is a new adult, The Bride Test by Helen Huang, I place that in new adult, Where Bad Boys Are Ruined by Holly Renee, and I place that in new adult, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, I place that in new adult, Crazy Cupid Love by Amanda Heger, and I place that in new adult fantasy, Darkest Minds by Alexandra Brecken, and I place that in young adult sci-fi. One Cruel Night by K.A. Lindy, I place that in new adult. Cruel Money by K.A. Lindy, I place that in new adult. After by Anna Todd, I place that in new adult. Cruel Fortune by K.A. Lindy, I place that in new adult. And I Dare You by Ilsa Madden Mills, I place that in new adult. For Romanceopoly, I read Sweet Street, and that book was Beautiful March by Christy Pastore. And for Growing Pains Place, I read Her Perfect by Stephs Walls. For Readathons, I participated in Chick Lit-a-thon, and I will put up the books that I completed. I don't have that list with me right now, but as you can see, I read a couple books for that. I did an impromptu readathon of 48 and 72 over the Memorial Day weekend, and I got 5 books read for that, as you can see. And I started a Polycon 20 in 20 challenge, which is running from Memorial Day until Labor Day of this year, for the list of authors, where you pick 20 authors from the list that will be appearing at the 2020 Polycon. For Bookish news, haha, yay! I submitted a royalty novels video to Read Bliss, so make sure you go and check them out. I also submitted a rom-com books that should be turned into rom-com movies. For Read Me Romance, the podcast, they finished up their 2nd season of authors and novels of short stories. If you haven't checked them out and you're looking to sort of expand your mind into new authors that you hadn't thought of, here's your best way, a great chance to listen to a short story from a new author to you. And it's also like just amazing. Lots of banter between Tess Bailey and Alexa Riley in that podcast before and after each of the stories. And on to the best part of this video, and that is my top 5 reads for the month of May. Starting it off, and it's not in any order, I'm going to go with Her Perfect by Steffi Walls. In this book, you have a student-teacher sort of trope that is done in a magnificent way, and this student has a sort of familial connection with the teacher. The teacher is her brother's best friend when they were in college, so there is a bit of an age gap, but not so much that it would actually be cringy if she wasn't in high school. She is a senior in high school and right on that precipice of being an adult, so it actually isn't as taboo as you think it is, and it deals with some very heavy topics and heavy subject matter. So tread lightly if you want to go into it, but it is a very beautiful story. The next book I'm going to talk about is Beautiful March by Christy Pastore. And in this story, you have 2 people that have had trauma in their past, and they both ran away from town. One has been back in town for quite some time, doing good for his town, trying to make it better and everything like that. Well, the female comes back in town, and come to find out the things that she thought she knew weren't real, and they both sort of find their way to each other, and it is a super slow burn and lots of teasing, and then you finally get your payoff, and it's so amazing. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Red Zone by Amy Knight, and this book follows another couple that knew each other when they were teenagers, and one was a freshman and one was a senior, and the freshman was teaching the senior French, I believe it was, or was being his tutor. He was the star quarterback and she was that nerdy nerd that nobody really paid attention to, but they had a connection. And then he went off to school, 10 years passed, and then they're thrown back into each other's lives after a tragedy within his family, and they have to sort of deal with that tragedy and deal with their new places in life and how they deal with the trauma that goes along with the responsibilities that come after a trauma. The next book I'm going to talk about is Promise You by Fabiola Francisco, and this book is a spin-off of the Rebel Desire band novels that Fabiola has written, and it is so amazing. This is about an up-and-coming country star that wants to get into the business, and the sister to one of the band members from Rebel Desire, and they're friends first, and you really can see their friendship within that very first chapter of the book, and you get to see how they transition from that friendship of secrets, you know, sort of chemistry and connection onto their new lives as possibly being something more. And then the final book I'm going to talk to you about is That Second Chance by Megan Quinn. And this book is a start to a new series by Megan Quinn, which I'm looking forward to. In this book, you have the older brother who is that sort of figurehead to the family. Even though mom and dad's still alive, they live in small town Maine. And one night or one weekend, during a birthday for one of the younger brothers, they all went to New Orleans, and they sort of had a run-in with a psychic, and when they came back to their small town, they felt like they had a curse placed on them from this run-in from the psychic. And this is sort of their story about finding their way and finding love, and this story deals with the oldest brother mainly, and we will get subsequent books for the other brothers later on, and I can't wait for that. But this book was funny, it was sweet, it was sexy, and the rom-com-ness of it was amazing. So those are the major categories of the books that I read for the month of May. How did you do this May? You know, how many books did you read? Let me know down in the comments section. As always, If you enjoyed this video, please stay around for the slideshow, or you can skip ahead right now. As always, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, watch the videos. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.